Her time has expired.
Thank you,
Mr. Speaker.
I call John Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to speak on behalf of the miserable, miserly National Government. This is the government that, contrary to Miss Glossy over there, that has a very fast way with the facts, that we have spent $100 million in Budget 2013 to insulate a further 46,000 homes. So miserly and miserly, we're spending $21.3 million to reduce rheumatic fever in children. So miserly, we're spending $189 million on welfare reform and to provide more frontline staff. Don't go away, you come here and listen to the truth. Mr. Speaker, we're spending money on health care you can rely on. $14.7 billion total in this budget. We're spending $1.6 billion in Budget 2013 for new initiatives and so to meet population pressure. Mr. Speaker, we're such a miserly government. We're spending $12.4 billion total of education in 2013-14. We're spending $173 million in early childhood education. We're so miserly, we're spending $215 million to help improve our schools and to ensure kids get the basic qualifications they need. And we're spending $130 million in tertiary education. Really miserly, aren't we? Mr. Speaker, I would say to Louisa Wall that your present circumstances don't determine where you can go, they merely determine where you start. And I'm a sailor, and I enjoy and I know that it's always possible to reach your target by simply trimming your sails to the wind. And that is why I believe this to be a damn good budget, because it offers the lowest inflation since 1999. It offers 3% growth last year. Our mortgage rates are the lowest in 50 years, and our after-tax wages are up 22% since 2008. And our communities know that, and that is reflected in the most recent political polls that I've noticed over the last few days. And people know that, contrary to that Green Speaker, 50,000 more jobs now exist in the economy than were in place 2 years ago. This economy is being responsibly managed. The government's going to have its finances back in order by 2014, 2015. Our objective, and this budget objective, is to have a more productive and competitive economy. This national fifth budget shows the government's books are in good shape because the government chose sound fiscal and economic policies and is sticking to them, and that is why the national government had such good turnout last week in Dannevirke when the Prime Minister came to meet the Chamber of Commerce, when he came to visit industries like metal form, like he came to view the old freezing works Oringi, which is really running well, and he came to observe how Northwood had morphed itself into the Kiwi Sock Company and was employing now 17 people, as against the 9 people that the Labor Party lost when the Labor Party policies tipped that company off the edge. Mr. Speaker, Budget 13 forecasts an operating service before gains and losses of about $75 million in 2014-2015, a very sharp contrast to the sort of outcome that we would get in a Green government that printed money or a Labor Party with a capital gains tax, Mr. Speaker. New Zealand needs to pay its way in the world through increased trade and investment if we are to create jobs and opportunities for hard-working Kiwis stretching in my electorate from Puranaua in the south to Dannevirke and Otani in the north. Mr. Speaker, under our business growth agenda, the government will lift exports by 40% of GDP by 2025. This target is an important part of our plan to build a more competitive and productive economy. Budget 13 builds on the business growth agenda by investing in growing New Zealand exports and boosting our overseas profile and international competitiveness through a $100 million or $400 million over 4 years internationally focused growth package. This is not something a miserly government would do. The new spending will be invested in extra research and development assistance to businesses and supporting new startups, about $106 million over 4 years. We are going to invest in public science, about $93 million over 4 years. We're going to provide additional funding for high-value tourism, $38 million in 2013-14, increasing to $40 million a year from 2014-15, when our economy will be back in surplus. Mr. Speaker, more resources for marketing New Zealand to international students, $40 million over 4 years, a market which already contributes more than $2 billion to our economy each year. Marketing of New Zealand under the New Zealand Story, $2 million in 13 and 14. These are not the actions, Mr. Speaker, of a miserly government as asserted by the Green Party and the Labour Party. Mr. Speaker, to meet the target of 40% by 2025, the value of New Zealand exports needs to double. This requires nominal export growth between about 6.7 and 7.6% per year in 2025, and I believe the productive sector, as exists in the Wairarapa electorate, will seriously contribute to do that. Government statistics, Speaker, show that our nominal export of goods and services has been growing by a compound average of 4.6% over the last 4 years. These are possible because of a sensible, hard-working, moderate government and sensible financial policies. I think that despite the international headwinds, which you can see in Europe, where unemployment rates are up over 25%, for example, in Spain, where if you're 25 years and under, you're likely to be 50 to 54% unemployed. We are nowhere near that space because we have sensible policies. And the aim of the internationally focused growth package is to help accelerate this trend over the medium term, and in particular to build on the opportunities that exist in China, in India, in Burma, in South Asia, Latin America, and also the Middle East. Mr. Speaker, along with their mates, the Greens, Labour is promoting policy ideas that would stunt New Zealand's growth. And I listen to it regularly in the Finance and Economics Select Committee, where I hear Mr. Cunliffe talking about the introduction of his capital gains tax. And on top of that, they are opposed to all initiatives that would create growth in jobs and boost incomes. I think that Labour is the anti-growth party. They want to bring in a capital gains tax, Mr. Speaker, on every business, on every farm in my electorate. The Greens want to print money to lower the dollar, to force households to pay an extra $500 a year under an emissions trading scheme, and to borrow more and to spend more. Because in the view of the Labour and the Green parties, this stuff money grows on trees. I think that in their rush to appeal to the political left, those who've just left the gallery, they're ignoring the economic impact of their ideas. Their latest plan, Mr. Mallard's latest plan on electricity, is playing politics with the value of New Zealand's economic assets, and they don't care who it affects. Even Mr. Damien O'Connor from the West Coast electorate can see the stupidity of Labour Party policies, as Nick Smith pointed out in the House this afternoon. They clearly haven't thought through the consequences of discouraging investment and savings, both of KiwiSavers and the Jobs for All policy that pretty much everyone agrees will not work. Mr. Speaker, I think that our policies are very good. I think the budget is outstanding, and I look forward to this country moving forward in the economy and people getting into a much better space over the next 5 years of this government. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, it's great to have an opportunity to